What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having an amazing day so far. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy your weekend. If you especially if you live in Tennessee. It's supposed to be high 80s, summer-like weather. If you don't have any plans, make some. Get out in that great weather this weekend, even today. Fortunately, I won't be going anywhere. Nope, not even tonight. But, it is Storytime Friday, so we're gonna do story time today. So, I don't really have a story lined up for you today, but I do want to talk a little bit about something that everyone might be familiar with, or if you're not, then good for you. But, today is not really a story time, but it's got a couple stories in it, so I will try to just go from the beginning. So today is gonna be, alright, we're just gonna go ahead and do a disclaimer right now in the beginning of this video. If you are sensitive to suicidal thoughts, actions, or just mentioning it, then get off the video. Because today is going to be about depression and anxiety and everything under the sun like that. So please, if you don't want to talk about it, get off the video. It's as easy as that. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. As most of you know, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety like a year and a half ago now. I actually have one of my old meds right here. No, I don't take them anymore because why would I need to? But this is just a little example. This is that was half of a tablet I would take 3 times a day, anytime that I needed it. I was on like 4 or 5 within 6 months of each other. Did they work? No. Did I still take them for the 30-day recommendation? Yeah. Because I hoped it would help, but it didn't. Sorry. I'm getting very little sleep right now. I don't know why. I just am. Anyway. Anyway, I had depression throughout most of my middle school years, and the fuck is that? I had through middle school. I had 4th grade through middle school, and then all the way through my high school years. No, depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder do not go away. So, the next time you tell a person, just feel happy, they have every right to slap you in the fucking face. Because that's not how it works. We can't just magically feel fucking happy like most of you. We don't work that way. We get over an amount of a certain chemical in our brain that makes us just sad. And it sucks. But, anyway, if you do suffer with depression, I feel your pain. It really sucks. It's really hard. There's no true way to get over it. There's no true way to get rid of it. You just gotta take meds and learn how to control it. If you don't learn how to control it, it gets really difficult. I finally learned how to control mine, sort of, with the help of some people, mainly my fiance. But after so long, you kind of get used to it, and you just learn to disguise it as something else. So yeah. So if you're like me and had it throughout elementary, middle school years, then living that life is painful, because you get bullied every day. And then you're like, oh, when I get home, it's my escape. School is your escape. That's what you just have to tell yourself every day, is home is my escape and it'll get better. Does it though? No. Not when you're in that situation, unfortunately. For me, eventually, yes. Shit got way better. Eventually. It got so much better. And so on and so forth. In some cases, it actually doesn't get better. It actually gets worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, I was one of those people. I dealt with fighting, screaming, all that stuff. And you're probably thinking, well, all of us go through that. No, actually, not everyone goes through your parents fighting every day, screaming at each other. Your stepdad hitting your mother almost every day. Now, when it came down to it, yes, they finally got divorced and they no longer see each other. But from that, my little brother was born. Does my mother regret my younger brother? No, she's got no reason to hate and regret Matthew. But, she regrets meeting his dad, which is a totally different story, which is most of the time understandable because they're abusive and they treat you like trash. Which he did. He was very abusive and very horrible and just all around a shitty person. But from that, my mom got depression because she thought life for her in the dating world was gonna just suck. And it did for a long time. After a couple moves and stuff, my mom got remarried eventually. You know, it was fine and everything. He had a couple kids of his own, like, it was no big deal to me until he started being toxic. He would cheat on my mother, and I didn't tell my mom because I just don't like being that person. Well, when it comes to step-parents, they think, you know, like, your mother loves me or your dad loves me, so I'm gonna boss. No. You don't start bossing your stepkids around until we like you. We will say we like you to please our parent, but that does not mean we fucking like you. Most of the time, yes, we do like you at the start, but when you start becoming controlling and yelling in our face, that makes us want to fucking punch you in the nose. And I did. I got to the point where I wasn't going to put up with my stepdad's shit anymore, and I punched him square in the nose. And I said to him, I don't know what you think gives you the right to yell in my face, but I'm not going to put up with it anymore. So your best bet is to just calmly approach me from now on. No, he didn't do that because it just pissed him off even more, and he thought he could ground me. Well, I went to the higher authority, my mother, and told her, he yells in my face again, I'm gonna punch him in the nose again. She's like, you're the one that broke his nose? And I'm like, yeah. And if he doesn't stay out of my face next time, I'm gonna do a lot worse. And she's like, well, I don't know who gave you the authority. And I'm like, my safety. Because, and she's like, well, your safety is just fine. And I'm like, well, I'm very hostile. And she knows this. She knew this, that I get very hostile and aware when people are yelling. Because, obviously, she's had a lot of arguments and fighting has happened a lot in the house. So I get very hostile and everything like that. And she's like, that still doesn't give you a right to hit him. He's a grown-ass adult. And I'm like, and a grown-ass adult shouldn't be yelling at a 12-year-old. So we went on as normal for like 4 months. And I was in my room, laying down because I had cramps. And I told my mother that I had cramps. Because I shouldn't have to tell him. So I laid down and took a nap, and then he comes barging in my room and calls me a lazy fuck. Well, I told him, I don't think you have a fucking period, now do you? And he's like, that's no excuse, your mother doesn't lay down. My mom comes in the room and tells him to leave me alone, and he's like, well, she's being a lazy fuck. And then my mother, finally, slapped him. My mom slapped this man. And she's like, don't call her a lazy fuck. She's cramping. She's on her period. It hurts. And then I got up because he was going to swing at her. And I'm like, you swing at my mother, I'll call the fucking cops. Learn your lesson, old man. He's like, you shut the fuck up. And then she slapped him again. And she's like, you don't tell her to shut the fuck up when she's got a valid fucking point. And he's like, you shut the fuck up. I went up to him. And I punched him in the gut. And he fell, obviously. And then I stood on his throat. I weighed a good amount. I was like almost 145 pounds. I stood on his throat. I was light to him though. And I was like, do not hurt my mother. I'm like, she don't deserve you. She deserves better than you. You're trash. And they got divorced. Put my mother into a Great Depression, and it was horrible. She didn't date for a couple of years after that. But during that, I was suffering through my own battles in life. God, I hate TikTok sometimes. They're fucking annoying. I was battling through depression on my own. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't really care to let anyone know because it was my problem. I didn't really care to let anyone know that I had it, so. But after they got a divorce, life got harder for me because obviously my mom had to pick up double shifts to make money for the house and pay all the bills. The rent was $500 for my mother with 3 kids. That was outrageous. For a 3-bedroom unfinished attic and with 2 dens and a kitchen was outrageous. Let alone, yes, it was a 2-story, but it was outrageous. Because it had no insulation, it had no AC, and it didn't have any heat. It was old, and it was $500 a month. No. I would pay $300 for that, not $500. But, so we moved out of that place. It's kind of when my depression really, really started to skyrocket and just get really bad. And just, I was really, really suicidal at that point. And I just couldn't handle it anymore. So, I started cutting myself really bad and started just letting myself bleed out for a while. No, it didn't get to the point where I would die or pass out or anything. It was just, you ever get that feeling like you have a big pain that you want to get rid of, so you just hide it with smaller pain, but more visible pain? That's what my cuts did to me. It was more of a visible small pain that I knew I could control, so I used that. Eventually, my mother found someone else. Hated this guy more than I hated the last one. Why? We'll get into that. We will call him, I'll just use his real fucking name. We'll call him Mark. He's a prick. He treated me like shit. I don't want to stand for it. So, I was seeing someone long term for like 2.5 years, roughly. Great guy, treated me nice-ish to a point. We'll call him Darwin. He was on the fluffier side, the way I liked him back then. And he was great. Well, that all went downhill when, so I am at this point a sophomore in high school. I have been depressed since I was in 4th grade. No, in 4th grade through at least 4th to half of 7th grade, I didn't show suicidal thoughts or actions. And no, I did not go to 6th grade. So, but, I didn't show suicidal thoughts 4th, 5th, and 7th grade. Well, halfway through 7th grade. 7th grade, I started showing suicidal actions because I started, like, scratching at my arm when I got anxiety. Caused me to have to see a counselor at school. And they said that if I didn't stop, they would tell my mother to put me into a insane asylum. Because I wanted to die. And I'm like, I would find a way to die in there. Like, I don't really care what you want to do to me. Well, it got so bad that one day, we were in the gymnasium. It was a rally day. This is about the beginning of my sophomore year of high school. I was still having to see a counselor every now and then, but my main problem was when my anxiety would strike high, like really, really, like outrageously high. And when I tell you my main anxiety issues are loud noises and crowds, that's my main problem, because loud noises to me are emphasized by like 400 or even 1,000 depending on the noise. So when you have to go into a gym with over 2,000 students and they got like the big siren out and they got like air horns and everybody's shouting, my anxiety would rise high, like really, really high. I had to have a self-control item with me, because I would always have to ask the rally person, like the person mainly in charge of the rallies, and be like, when is the next one? And if she would say tomorrow, I would literally have to go to the principal and ask, can I bring my control item tomorrow to school for the rally? And I had paperwork and everything, obviously, and they would have to say yes, or I couldn't come to school the next day. And so after, like, everything would happen, my anxiety would calm down, my depression would set in, because I would feel stupid for freaking out. And that would go on for days. Like, for days on end. Like, I wouldn't want to show my face at school. I wouldn't want to come out of my room or anything. But when my mom met this new boyfriend, Mark, it was horrible. I hated him. He was trash and didn't treat my mother well. Within like a month and a half, he got put back in jail for drugs. Like, this boy couldn't stay out of jail. Like, it's where he fucking belongs. It's where he is now. But they were together for like 2 or 3 years. It was okay for a little bit. So at this time, I'm a junior in high school now. It's almost near the end of the high school year, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired of my family and their bullshit and everything. So I decided that I was just gonna say fuck it and leave. Keep in mind, depressed child can equal bad things, so I'm pretty sure I did a video on this, but if I didn't, then oops. But I was depressed, and I posted about it on Facebook saying I hate my life, blah blah blah. Next thing you know, guy gets hold of me, blah blah blah, ran away, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I come home, I'm more depressed than I've ever been in my life. Because I had to go back to school. I had to go back to where my mother lived. Now, at this time, my mother was not the problem. It was the guy she was fucking sleeping with. I hated Mark. He was a drug addict. He couldn't stay out of jail to save his life. Blamed me for pretty much everything because he couldn't stay out of jail for the life of him. So, at this time, I was doing a lot of drugs. I was on heroin, cocaine, and everything, trying to hide the pain even more. Well, one night I couldn't find a vein, and I was getting distressed and over it, so I decided to go back to my old ways, and I started cutting myself. So I was getting up out of my room to go get something. I think it was a paper towel. And Mark was in the living room. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I spilled something in my room. And he's like, oh, okay. Get out of the hallway. So, I grabbed a paper towel and went back to my room. You know, nothing weird. But I was bleeding and he didn't notice, thankfully. But he was fucking creepy and would come into our rooms and check on us. Like, what kind of fucking person actually does that? Like, A, I'm not your fucking child. Like, leave me the fuck alone. B, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want in my room. And my mother didn't do this kind of thing. She was more of a, I don't really care what you do at night in your room. Like, just don't wake me up. But my arm was obviously bleeding, and he came in, and I obviously had my arm out in the open, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, Why do you care? Like, and then he started yelling at me. He's like, don't get cocky with me. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just being fucking blunt with you. Like, why the fuck do you care? I'm not your fucking kid, man. Get the fuck out of my room. And he's like, did you cut yourself? And I'm like, yeah. Like, why the fuck do you care? Like, and it got... So you're probably thinking he cared, though. No. He put on a show to make it look like he cared for my mother. So he drags me into the living room, asking me repeatedly, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? And I'm like, why do you fucking care, man? And I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't have to answer shit to you. And he raised a hand to me, and I'm like, do it. I dare you. I'll put a whole grown-ass man on the floor once. Bitch, I ain't afraid of you. Yeah, he put that armor down real quick. And he's like, I'm gonna wake your mom up. And I'm like, okay. I don't care. So, he went and got her up. And she was like, what did you do? And I'm like, I cut myself. Whoop-de-doo. And she's like, well, then my mom looked at my arm and said, just put some super glue on it. Like, it's no big deal. And Mark was freaking out. Like, she cut herself on purpose. And I'm like, motherfucker, and what is your problem? And my mom's like, just put super glue on it and I'll deal with it in the morning. I don't really care right now. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed the super glue in my room. I already had some because I already knew, like, I'm not dumb. I put some on it and everything like that, and just, yeah. And after that, I had to move in with my dad. My depression is so bad at that point, like, I didn't care. But all I remember from my middle school through high school years is being depressed and hating life and wanting to kill myself and just being over it and not really caring at that point about people around me because I felt dead and alone inside. Duh. But, yeah. That's how it was for me. If you have a kid and they're depressed, don't make them socialize or anything. Just talk to them, maybe. Talk to them as in don't fucking yell at them. Just talk to them like a normal human being. Yeah. Well, I guess that's about it for this video. I'm sorry this video was kind of all over the place. I'm kind of just not feeling it today. I'm tired and just wanting to just pass out. But I can't because life's happening and I got things to do. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great rest of your day, and I hope you guys live this weekend to the best of your ability. Like, especially in Tennessee, like, girl, it is sunny AF outside and almost 80 degrees. Like, get outside, take your dog swimming or to the park or something. Like, live it up this weekend, guys. Alright, guys. Well, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, wear a mask, wear gloves, everything like that. Alright, peace, guys.